Hi, I'm Ronna Richmond. Today I'm going to be talking about my palette. I'm an oil painter. I've been painting in oils for over 30 years, and I'd like to explain how I set up my palette, what kind of paints I use, the kind of palette I prefer, and that kind of thing. First off, I'm going to turn the palette the other direction. The palette as I paint is like this. And this is my painting space here, and my colors are around the outside edges of my palette. So it gives me plenty of space to work. But I'm going to turn it the other direction and refer to it so that you as the viewer are looking at it from the point of view of the artist. Here is my palette, and just so you understand, you as the artist, if this was your palette, you would be standing back here behind the palette knife and the tube of paint, just so you can see what the orientation is here. I'm going to use my palette knife to point to these colors. You have titanium white. This is cadmium lemon, cadmium yellow pale or cadmium yellow light, depending on the brand. This is cadmium yellow, cadmium orange. This is cadmium red light, cadmium red, cadmium red deep. Then we have permanent rose, permanent alizarin crimson, dioxazine violet, ultramarine blue. This one's manganese. This one's cerulean. This is cobalt. This one is Winsor blue red shade. Winsor blue red shade. There's another one too. I think there's like a yellow shade or a green shade. This is cadmium. This is Winsor blue red shade. This is Viridian, sap green, yellow ochre, burnt sienna, and burnt umber. So those are the basic colors I always have on my palette. Sometimes, depending on the painting, I add 2 additional colors. One is Prussian blue, and the other is raw umber. But I don't put those on my palette normally unless I need them. The paint brands I normally use are Winsor & Newton and Holbein. And Winsor & Newton I've been using ever since I started painting about 33 years ago. I prefer them. I try to use the best paints I can afford, and I choose these. They're most readily available in stores. You don't have to mail order them if you don't want to. They are cheaper if you mail order them, but if you're pressed for time and you run out of a color, Winsor & Newton does have stores in towns. They have brick and mortar stores that you can find them at. I also decided to try Holbein recently. I'm super happy with these. They're a little more expensive than Winsor & Newton, but I think they're excellent. And if you can afford them, try them. If you can't find a certain color that you need in the brand you choose, Grumbacher also has decent paints that are available in stores. I have had this raw umber for a long time because I don't use that much of it, but Winsor & Newton was out of it. They didn't have any there of the raw umber, so I opted for the Grumbacher. It's, for me, a decent substitute. Also on my palette, I have Liquin, and this is just Liquin Original. they have different formulations, but for me and the way I paint, this is the perfect formulation. It is viscous without being, it's not for impasto painting, but it's not fine detail. It's thicker than that, and that's how I like it. And this is also available in stores, and I've used it. It's just a painting medium. It makes your paint more glossy. It speeds up drying time, and it extends the use of your paints. I also use odorless mineral spirits. I know that you hear a lot about turpentine, but it's not really called turpentine. In this case, it's odorless mineral spirits. They're slightly different products. And you can find regular mineral spirits, but I would say get yourself some odorless. It says it right on the bottle, on the can, odorless mineral spirits. It's just safer to be used indoors in an enclosed environment. My palette on the bottom of it, you can see here. I want to talk a little bit about the size I'm using here and what it is. This is just a piece of 18 by 24 plexiglass. And I got this at Home Depot. This is the size I choose. I found that if I was using anything smaller, I ended up with a tiny little space to mix my paint, and I didn't care for that so much. And then the other thing is I put just white paper, a couple pieces of white paper underneath it, because as you can see, it's transparent, or in this case, kind of translucent at this point. But I put white paper under it so that I can see my colors much more clearly when I'm mixing them. A picture of my palette labeled with all the colors will be available below in the description. And if you like this video, please hit thumbs up and subscribe. In future episodes, I will be talking about everything from labels on the tubes of paint, types of brushes, building your own canvases, composition, and the battle with lighting, among other things. So please join me next time, and thanks for watching.